Hello, this is Lisa Rusczyk
And Donna Murphy.
with the podcast We Are All Psychic. And today, if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, we have Cheryl. And Cheryl, would you like to say hello?
Hi, welcome, and I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for asking me to be here.
I am thrilled that you're here. And I think Donna might have a question for you right away. Donna, do you have a question?
I love that.
Yes, I do. And this is a question that we love to ask our guests, and we ask all our guests. And that is, do you think we're all psychic?
Without question, we are. Without question. And I will say too, I know that I just finished, I just published a book just this week actually, and I know that we'll get into some of those pieces, but
I didn't know it. I didn't know it.
Thank you. But in that book, I say we are all born with our psychic abilities. That it is a sixth sense. It is a true thing. We all have it. People think that, well, this one has it more than I do. I don't have it. We all have it. But like on anything that we walk this journey, it's at differing levels, but it's always, always, always available. And I would say it is our lifeline to the other side because of this journey being as difficult as it is. So absolutely, 100%. Psychic abilities.
I love it. So when
Yes.
you were younger, was this something you like were raised around, or did you learn about it on your own? Did you have experiences when you were
Well,
young?
I was going to say I was born a medium, although I didn't know it at the time. I would always see spirit faces, and I always kind of giggle when I say that, but I just thought everyone did, so I never mentioned it to anyone.
Yeah.
And I was incredibly intuitive, but at the age of 7 or 8, we do quietly begin to move into the hum of the earth and move into what I call like an earth amnesia of sort. And so I fell into that as well, but I was extremely intuitive, but I just thought everyone was intuitive.
No one was getting you to flex that muscle and didn't tell you what it was.
Yes, perfectly said. I would know things but I also know too that it was part of my path now to silence that, to awaken at the age that
Yeah.
I did awaken, which
When was that?
that was probably about 10 or 15 years ago. At the
Oh,
age,
gotcha.
yeah, it was at a time when a few loved ones in my family moved on and visited me. And I was just like, wow. And that just became the epiphany. And as you say, ladies, that was part of everyone has psychic abilities. Mediums have psychic abilities, but not everyone is a medium.
Now that's
And
interesting you bring that up because we've had this
Yeah.
discussion on the podcast many times. I think we all can do mediumship, and some people don't. I think
well,
it's a skill you can learn.
I will say too, Lisa, too, I feel like there are levels of mediumship.
You have to practice.
I'm a retired public school teacher, so I taught science. So we all are mediums because the true word of medium is just being able to funnel. So I agree with you, Lisa.
I mean, we all have visitations from like not everybody, but a lot of people. Most people will say if a close person dies, they have dreams of them. There's some kind of visitation where they
Absolutely.
feel at peace. And
Absolutely, Lisa.
they see signs.
Yeah.
They're all
Absolutely.
available.
And you are right. We are all mediums because we are all of light. But generally, when the
Most
public
people
talks
don't want
about,
to deal with mediumship if they're psychic, is what I've found. A lot of psychics
Mhm.
don't want to do mediumship for some reason. I personally love doing mediumship. I'm also a
Mhm.
medium. I love it. You know,
Well, my definition of a mediumship in a higher level, and again, there's so many different levels. We are all mediums. We all can communicate with the other side. That's what our psychic abilities are all about. But I say that a medium can lift their vibrations to a level where they can meet on the other side and communicate. And I'll use this word vastly.
Yeah.
So communicate vastly, and I say that is the defining point of the level of mediumship.
What do you mean by vastly? I'm just curious. I'm like
Vastly is in all aspects, loved ones of all types, not just our loved ones.
yes.
Communicate
Oh, like
with
goddesses and deities and
Mhm.
spirits and weird alien spirit. Yeah, I love all those.
and again, not just our loved ones, but their
Yeah.
loved ones and their loved ones and their loved ones.
Yeah.
Not
Um,
everyone is built up to where they can do that or believe they can.
right,
Yeah.
but we are all mediums, Lisa. 100% again with you on that one too.
Yeah,
And we
it's hard.
all
It's
have the
hard to
ability to connect.
It's a hard thing to put because mediumship is so strange for me anyway, because I can't pin down how it works. I can't figure it out for me. I mean, I can think about it in a lot of abstract ways, but I can't logic it whatsoever. There's no logic for me there. Whereas with
And
cards, I can logic it as a tool, this stuff I already subconsciously picked up on, stuff like that. I can't with mediumship. When people will say that I can see this person talking to me, a spirit, and they say that what they said is right. I mean, get this too much, it's too often. It's
Yeah,
enough.
there's a lot of there's a lot of those aspects. And I said, wouldn't it be great if your loved one could just sit down and go, okay, Cheryl, tell them this, and this. But
Yeah.
that's not how mediumship works on anyone's
They
level,
just
right?
say what they want to say sometimes, or
So
you're
we
not
work with
getting
our
it.
symbols, right? Or our feelings or our psychic
Yeah,
abilities.
and that's the other thing that I think a lot of times, again, could be open to interpretation.
Yes.
Not that we're trying to insert ourselves in the process,
We have to interpret my end of
but
it.
you have to a little bit because you have the idea of sharing what comes through with the trust that even if it
Mm.
doesn't make sense to me, that's not necessarily important. It doesn't make sense to the person I'm reading for. But then the other thing is even they may be initially kind of puzzled, going, I don't really know what that symbol means, what that means. And if I say, well, this person showed me this,
Mhm.
right? Sometimes both of us wind up shrugging our shoulders and going, can you either give
Happens
us
a
a
lot
little
too.
more
Yeah,
or,
it
you
does
know,
happen.
Absolutely.
And have
Absolutely.
you ever heard back from those people? And then, like 2 weeks later, it's like, I saw this horse, and it was the chestnut horse you were talking about. It's very significant because the guy riding it is going to marry me or something,
Right.
something, or
And
they remember something, or, we had a
right.
not
guest in
all
the
that.
podcast
Well,
talking about
but
that.
then the pieces fall into place. It's like when
Mhm.
more information has a chance to flow in,
Mhm.
then it's like, oh, okay, now that does make sense. There is a connection or there is a context
Right.
for what the person who has, crossed over is trying to show or tell.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely right. And I always say, don't narrate the answer, right? You just give them what
Mhm.
you get,
Yes.
and
Mhm.
their open heart finds a place for it now, or later, or sometimes not ever. But our jobs are just to give the messages that we have, or the messages that
I
we
think so
receive. So,
too. Yeah,
well,
and to
that's
do it compassionately in some way. If like,
mm,
my best way of phrasing things, if like, I've never had a spirit say anything that would be
uh,
like insulting or anything, but I might find a different way to phrase it sometimes if I don't
mhm,
understand how or what they're saying exactly. You know what I
mhm.
mean?
I
Like,
do. I do.
yeah, I can't put it into words because that's the kind of situation I'd be in. What they're showing me and
Right.
giving me. There's all this. Can you guys hear this stuff, listeners? I hope you can. But there is
Mhm.
so much. That's why I'm kind of yelling, because there's so much work outside being done in that garage. It's like really loud in here.
and, and and also too, I know you'll agree with me, ladies, too, is there's not a straight vernacular in our earth language and our spirit language. It doesn't always
Mhm.
transfer exactly. So sometimes,
Right.
like you said, it's hard to use human words that will reach the spirit explanation of sort.
Yes, and for them to
Um,
understand it in their way,
right.
not
And
necessarily
Yeah.
my way, but in the spirit's way of telling them, like how
right.
they would and stuff. It's
Right.
like kind of all fast. It happens
Mm.
really
And
fast.
that's what I found a very interesting and difficult way when I was writing my book, was to write it in such a foundational, I call it a spiritual narrative voice, that it would be easy to discern.
But
Certainly, we could just talk levels and levels, but I wrote the book to meet the curious and meet the high level, at all pieces. So
I'm
it
curious.
Yeah.
and just to, because I say it's not my story, a spirit's journey, it's our story. It's our story. It is our journey here on this earth's plane.
And
And
listeners, and watchers, that is the name of the book. A
a
journey,
spirit's journey.
Spirit's
Yes. A
journey.
Spirit's
spirit's
Yes,
journey.
yes.
journey.
Yes.
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 You gonna
And
show it
and
to the
it,
watchers? Watchers, she gonna show you her book. Show it to them this
well,
week.
you know
And
what?
it's a bestseller this week, right? My nose is itching. I'm sorry. There's like they're kicking up
Yes.
all this dust in the air, and it's like
That's all right. Yeah, you just be you, Lisa. That's beautiful.
I'll pick mine. That book, though, my gosh, I can't believe you hit the bestseller list right away. That's just amazing, and I love it
Yeah.
for you.
Well,
That's
it was number one newcomer, so it wasn't the bestseller yet,
that's
but I'm
really
on my way.
great.
Yes. It's
Yeah,
coming.
but it was, as a debut, it
That's
was the number
nice.
Your
one
first book?
new release. Yes, it is.
That's
It's
wonderful.
Wow,
Yeah,
that
and
is
it's 10
freaking
years in the
awesome.
making. It was 10 years for me to I've been doing a presentation. Spirit nudged me to create this presentation and they named it a Spirit's Journey about 10 years ago, and I've been moving to places doing this presentation, and then it birthed the book, and it was
So
quite
how
a
long did
process.
it take you to actually put pen to paper and write it? Did you kind of brain it a lot and then put it down, or was it
Well, you know what? I'm going
time?
to show you right now. You ready?
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh wow, your little board. Oh, big board of
Oh,
lots of
wow.
notes.
That's great.
That's
So
so
That's
I
great.
did
cool.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
again, I've been teaching this for 10 years, so it wasn't something
Yeah.
I had to learn. But like we just talked about, is I had to find the language of
Mhm.
commonality to bring it together. And I intertwined it with not only my professional mediumship, but also my personal spiritual walk as well.
I would love
And
to hear more about that. If I know you won't
Yes.
spoil the book for anyone,
oh
but can
no,
you give us
I
a
there's
little
no
teaser,
spoiling
a
the
little
book.
taste,
I
something that.
certainly can. I
Okay.
broke it into 5 parts, and part one is when we reside on the other side, what that looks like, and that is I want to say that was the most difficult part for me to put into words
Where do
because
you find those words? Like, have you read that book, Journey of Souls by Michael Newton? Like, that's the best. That's a good analogy for that to find the words. Because everybody, if listeners, if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's a book about what happens in between life and death, or like death and life, actually.
yes,
Yeah.
And so this is what this psychotherapist took all these recordings. We talked about this book a lot in the first couple seasons,
yeah,
and they all have different descriptions, like what you're probably talking about,
that
trying to
is.
find a
I
description.
have to
Well, it's all
tell
the
you,
same
Lisa.
thing.
I love that. I love that you said that because you validate me even deeper. I've never read that book, but I'm sure it's a
You will
great
love
book.
it.
I really speak just from spirit, and everybody goes, "Did you read this book?" Did you? I go, I really haven't, but I trust what's in there.
You would like
But
this book.
it's so interesting that you say that. But that's what made it so difficult for me to write it because on the other side, it is such a unique experience for us all. And so to create the words that helped to build what it is over the other side, but also allow you to open up to what you feel and see on the other side. Because what we create, we imagine what we create. So there's not a one
Mhm.
size fits all on the other side. So that was the most daunting for me because I can't. We can't just turn that on and go, oh, Cheryl forgot this, and she, right? Because we have that earth's amnesia and not feeling with our heart because our heart has all our answers, but
Yes.
really fine tuning what speaks to me on the other side.
Right.
So that's part one, and then part two is when we choose on the other side to incarnate. And I always speak from my spiritual perspective, so I welcome you,
I
ladies.
believe in reincarnations.
Okay,
You're
Oh,
in
yeah,
good
me
company
too.
here.
Absolutely.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm preaching to the choir here, right?
We love it.
And the many decisions that we make, many
Mhm.
decisions that we make. And then part three is our human journey right here. And psychic abilities is on the high level, as you ladies have mentioned, because that is our lifeline to the other side. This journey is tough. We're not here. We're here for those challenges and lessons. So we need that safety net. And
Right.
we all have that.
Right.
And then I return back home. I don't use the D word, the death word, because I don't feel it in my heart. It is just a return home.
The
So
word
it
doesn't
is
resonate with you for what it actually happens. Right.
right.
It's got so
I
many
do use it because
connotations. It's
it's a
final.
human word,
It's a
right?
final
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
And it is not final. And that's why I call it a cycle because a cycle just keeps continuing. So my book takes it from one incarnation all the way back home. And I did include a part five. I really want this to be a discussion. I want everyone to open to their truths because again, this isn't my book. This is our book. This is our story. And how it uncovers and how we define it, it really is our individual journey. So I created journals and prompts to help you to kind of open and feel your truths.
You want to throw one at us and we can discuss it? You want to
Yeah.
pull one up?
Which
Oh,
part would you
want
like
do
to
that
be
now?
on? Yeah.
You pick. You surprise us, and
All
yeah,
right. Let me
you want to do that?
see.
It sounds like fun to me. I want to hear some of the.
Yeah.
I was
All
going to
right.
ask you to read a passage anyway, so
How
this is
about
a good way to
preparing
read.
to incarnate? So we're on part two.
Okay.
Preparing
Okay.
to
Yeah.
incarnate. Let me just peek. Let's see. What do you believe your soul hope to experience or refine in this lifetime?
Hope to refine.
Refine to make better, to experience, to find
I think
ease
I
with.
know one. I
And
think
I will say too, think about the commonality of your life. So it's generally
Mhm.
not one size fits all. It's
a
just
lot
like
of
today.
stuff.
It's been intertwined. I call that karma. That
Yeah.
is karma in a spiritual sense for
Why
me.
we're here? Yeah.
Why we're here and what we came to experience.
Yeah.
And that karma it floats and it's strung through our whole lives. It doesn't just
Mm.
appear just one and done. It can appear at a certain age, and that's sometimes part of karma too. That it was to come at this time that we chose.
Yeah.
but it does get weaved through.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it is just a soul search. And I say too, when our hearts are open, and I know you ladies completely, your hearts are open, but our answers come. Our answers
I
come.
have to work
So,
on opening mine, I'd say, because I have it closed for a long time, like from French, so I don't get hurt,
yeah.
from being hurt. We all have done this for periods, closed. But lately, we had a podcast guest who taught us how to open our heart chakras by at will, and I can do it now. I can feel it go. Woo, woo.
Whatever you tell your spirit to do, it does it, right? So
Yes.
I use the acronym of CAR. It's a quick one. It's I see the little tail.
Yeah.
Listeners, there's a cat tail.
Clear, ask, and receive. Right. So clear is just closing that earth's chatter, that noise. Right.
Yeah.
And I know that's the toughest place for us to go. And Lisa, you sounds like you found some strategies and techniques that work for you.
Yeah.
There's no magic to it. It's just a place that we find our unique way. Ask and then quickly see what just comes. If we're thinking, we're not in spirit. We're in our human aspect. And that's beautiful. That's where
I think the thinking is what we're supposed to put all this stuff together into words to communicate to other people.
Right. Right. And just open our hearts.
I mean, intellect, mental activity, very important. I mean, it is part of this experience. It's part of the human experience. Like Lisa said, it's part of being able to communicate what we're thinking, feeling, experiencing. I also think that sometimes there are what I call executive decisions that basically just need to be made. And it's really good for that, right? It's good for those things. It's good for process, right? You have to build a shelf. You don't necessarily have to have a spiritual attachment to the shelf. You can. But the idea that you need to be able to just follow a progression of steps to get done what physically you want to get done. So there's a lot of mental functions that we would be literally lost without. Our human experience would not be
human. Yeah.
Even functional as it is when we've got that working. It's just a question of where and when.
Right.
But with what you're talking about, Cheryl, if I understand, and of course we have our
I love
Tomiko. Tomiko is here to manage.
Beautiful.
Oversee.
Manager, yeah. What did you say you call her? There's a name you had for her in one podcast. You called her something. My dad always called his
I might have called her the manager.
It might have been the manager, yeah.
Supervisor, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we have this, again, we have this it's a tool. It's there as a tool. And it's very helpful. It's when we're trying to either, again, if I understand you correctly, when we're trying to tune into that part of us that does not, I'll say doesn't immediately require mental process, that being able to tell the difference and that sense of immediate knowing doesn't have to flow through the mental part. You can cycle it through after, but it doesn't need to be there before.
You make a great understanding that we are also, I call it, infinitely unique, and so too is our experience with spirit. So too is our channel with spirit. So there's no wrong way. There's no right way and there's no wrong way. That right and wrong doesn't exist in spirituality. But what I use as a mantra, Donna, to side with you completely on your consciousness of moving into that place when you want to move into that place, is I say, does it feel light and right? If it feels light, it is right.
I like that. Yeah.
And that is just a spiritual tool you can take with you anywhere, because your humanness can never dupe you or deceive you into feeling that light, whatever light feels like to you. Was it
what
true?
Does it feel like to you? What is it? And both of you.
It depends. It depends on where I am, because remember,
energetic feelings. I like to put words to those. It's really interesting to me to do that.
You know what? I do the clear, ask, and receive too, and I'll say, does that feel light? Did that message feel light? And then I said sometimes spirit, as you know, ladies, gives you a strike, and sometimes they give you a popcorn trail for you to follow. But whatever reasons.
That's so funny, yes.
Right? And so I'll give you an authentic example today. As you know, my book is being published, and I'm like, should I think about boosting or putting an ad to Instagram? I think it was today. And so I sat, cleared, and I heard yes. And I said, does that feel right? Yes, it does feel right. So I move forward on boosting. So again, that light is right can just feel like, Yep, I got it. Or it could feel like peace. It could feel truth. It really depends on what you're asking spirit for, right? If I'm asking if I should have hamburgers or hot dogs for lunch today, that light is really light, right? It's just, yeah,
Yeah, I got
this
you.
resonates more with me.
Yeah.
But if I have to ask spirit if maybe I'm not feeling well and should I go see the doctor? Well, there's a little element of ego and humanness that could have a hum to it, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
maybe I'll say, well, it doesn't feel heavy to do that, or maybe I'll say also that today is not the time for me to move into spirit because I feel too much humanness.
Yeah.
I'm really not hearing my heart or my next steps quite yet.
Yeah.
So I give myself grace to say, okay, let me just talk myself, use all those strategies that you ladies beautifully mentioned. Whatever strategies work for you, I say it's beautiful.
And find out as many as you can and try them, right?
Absolutely.
You
And they
know,
don't
like,
always work, right? I mean, sometimes you got to say, that one's not working. I'm going to try this one.
yes, don't give up.
Don't give
It's
up.
not
Right.
for you.
Right. Absolutely.
Keep on finding that light.
Well, and for me, one of the things that I think really simplified it a lot, because I get this a lot in my I get it for my personal life, I get it a lot with clients. And although I cannot take any credit for this, it was distilled so beautifully that I've kind of adopted it. And very simply, because I tend to, although I don't consider myself a highly anxious person myself, I tend to actually attract a lot of clients who deal with a lot of high level anxiety. Um, and of course, like any human, because I'm quite human,
As we all are.
I do have anxiety and fear, from time
Sure.
to time, because that's just part of
It's our
being a
human
human
journey.
being.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, what I saw, and I don't even know if I can't remember the name of the person or anything. It may have been something they were passing along. But the idea is that very simply, if you can just take a moment, and the distinction, and this really resonated for me, the distinction between, is it a mental thing, right? Is it my fear, my anxiety, my mind, my busy mind, or is it intuition, spirit?
Yes.
And if it's asking questions, it's mental.
Yeah.
If it's speaking in statements, it's your intuition.
Good
Beautiful.
point.
And that resonated for me so deeply and really defined something that I didn't have a simple definition
Right.
for myself. Because even when people will ask me, because you read for people, you talk to people, I'm like, well, your own intuition, I would talk about their intuition. And they're like, but I don't know if it's my intuition or not. And,
Right.
and
That happens.
I just didn't have language for a helpful way to let them know the difference. I usually, not always, usually can tell the difference for myself. But yes, I've been stumped by that too,
I have.
especially if something feels very high stakes, right? So anyway, that was so simple and so elegant.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I would say absolutely factual experientially, that I was like, oh yeah, I love this. This is so
Mm-hmm.
perfect.
Can I add a little to that too, Donna? I think
Please,
that
yeah.
I love that, and really it's the same. I'm just using different words. I also have a podcast called "If It's Late, It's Right,"
Yeah,
and
I like that.
following your lead. And again, our hearts are all collective and all have the same knowledge. I did a podcast called "Name Your Verb." Because, like you said, exactly like you said, our cells are half human, all the junk,
Mhm.
but part of our journey and a
Yeah.
big part. And then the spirit, and I say the spirit part knows no boundaries. It knows no hurdles. It knows A to B, but darn hard to get there. So I said, when you're feeling that, name your verb. If you're using verbs like fear, that's a big one. We know that.
Mhm.
Even anxiety,
Mhm.
nervousness, that's all of the human side. And
And
sometimes,
can'ts
Mhm.
like you
and
said,
don'ts
that
and won'ts can hurt you,
right,
Yeah.
put you in a mindset of negativity, or
right,
put you box
and
you in.
and sometimes that acknowledgement is just enough to, like you said, all right, that is my humanness. I have to deal with it, but I know that's not my intuition. My intuition is not telling me that. And if you feel like that peace or that truth are not heavy, then you're following, like you say, your intuition of sort, that paper trail or wherever that is,
Mhm.
because that light, it really is always right. It's
Yeah.
always a place to move to.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I love how you put conscious words to it that made it understandable for you you and gave you strength and clarity in that. And thank you for passing that on, Donna. I think that was beautiful.
Thank you so much. And being able to share that with people, again, it could be a jump off point for them and how they then experience it. If they have that they didn't have before as one possible framework for their experience, that gives them something to build on that makes it, I would say, then even more personal or whatever. But it does seem to again, mental activity versus, I'll say, intuition or what's going on energetically, spiritually, because we aren't divided and we're not all sliced and diced into little compartments.
We're
everything
perfectly
works
imperfect.
together. And hopefully it's working together cohesively and positively, but not.
No, and I say honor the journey, right? Honor the journey. There is no, in spirituality, there's no right and wrongs. There's no have-tos. There's no judgment. So give yourself grace for wherever you are.
I was just speaking with a friend through text last night and we were relating about how it's like the chaos in the world these days and the problems everywhere and the energy is chaotic. And this person was saying, he's sad a lot and doesn't feel good about life and stuff, but he keeps pushing through. And I was saying, me too, I feel that way a lot. And I said, the things that help me, the thing that helps me the most, listeners, I want you to know this too, are my spiritual practices, is my spiritual practice, or like activities that I use to bring my spiritual side to awareness again, or come back up and take control, or, have it say, and hey, Lisa, calm down, bring yourself level. I burn
that conscious talk, right?
Yeah.
I call it self-love, self-love
Self-love
talk.
and self-love. And so I'll burn sage. I'll just start lighting candles or do whatever I feel like, put music on and kind of dance a little bit until I get feeling better. And these are spiritual ways for me because these are things that I use spiritually, like music even. It just changes what I feel right away. And I can change not feel just emotionally, but spiritually and my perspective and everything,
And I will say too, Lisa, and you showed us, and I'm just going to put a word to it, is just giving whatever piece of gratitude we can find.
Definitely. Gratitude is my go-to.
Gratitude's just that fast way of just moving us from the crap that's going to be waiting for us. And it could be, I want to hear this music. I want to hear this song. I want to dance. That's gratitude. That's an example. And just moving there is just, it can be, as you mentioned, Donna, that consciousness focus, that cerebral concrete focus of saying, nope, I'm not, I'm going here. And just feeling that light, right? That resonating with that light, and it's right. Gives us a little break. It gives us, and we don't have to say, well, I should be worried about this. I should be worried. And
we don't have to give ourselves rules like that.
No,
we don't have to.
Rules. There's no
boxing
rules.
Ourselves into don'ts and won'ts and can'ts. It's
Right.
interesting that you're talking about the light, because we just had a podcast where we were talking about how light and truth kind of go together in a lot of metaphors and stuff. So that's kind of like when I hear you talking about this, I hear there is some kind of empirical truth maybe in this metaphor we use for truth and light together. I don't know.
Think about this, Lisa,
truth,
too,
but
right?
It sounds like it.
We are all collective. We are all connected, and we all have the same truths. We just might define it a little differently.
We have our words, and we want to be understood for how we feel about it.
Right.
And
honored and judged, and not judged, right? Honored and without judgment and tolerance.
No judgment. Right.
And all those lighted words, right? When we're naming those verbs is and those are that defining level. So you nailed it, Lisa. Moving, making choice. Because I think empowerment and choices is so empowering.
It's hard to make decisions sometimes, but I know some people who just get paralyzed by it, making a big decision or a little decision. Like dinner can be hard. She's hamming it up. She's a star.
She's loving.
She's loving the
Cheryl. She's loving the podcast. She actually sat perfectly still.
I see that little tail.
He's been coming a lot.
But she sat perfectly still and just was I'm just taking it all in.
I love it. I love it. But like you said though, Lisa, if we open ourselves, because we have our auras, right? And the more light we are, the more it extends, and we collect all that's in that circumference. So we have to be mindful to say, I'm choosing not to. I have my own space, or like you said, said, cleaning it and clearing it and keeping our boundaries. Because as my book says, we are all on our own unique paths. And what we can't control, we have to release.
Yes.
And that's so important because we can only control our paths and our journeys.
We can't control what other people feel or do or say.
No,
we don't want to. Why would you want to? I don't understand why anyone wants to control other people. I don't get that.
Yeah, I think it's a misguided desire, or maybe, and I'm not using this word, well, maybe it's a little strong. I think it's kind of a misguided or a perverted desire for self-control. And when you put what they call the locus of control, outside yourself, other people not only can have a lot of effect on you, and that may feel very negative, very limiting, whatever. And sometimes it's kind of like a response or a reaction to that is, no, I'm going to be the one who controls other people. But I think that what's actually happening is that what we want is self-control. And I don't mean that in a limiting way.
That makes sense.
To me, self-control equals choice. The understanding and knowledge and utilization of the gift that we all have, that we always can make a choice. We may not always like the options that are immediately available, but we can always make a choice.
And we can always change how we think about those options and find advantage.
And that's the other thing, how we're looking at those options and interpreting what they are or what they mean or what they afford us, what they open
they feel
for
like,
us.
right?
Yep.
And our divine God, our divine source, I call my source God, is He gave us free will. That is the greatest gift. And we carry it through every dimension, this earth's plane, other side, and other dimensions. And so when you really sit with that and say, this is really my choice. Even when it doesn't feel like it is your choice, it is, right? I am choosing to. And that's a beautiful power, spiritual lighted power place to go. I'm choosing to do A, B,
it
or
feels
C.
good. It feels good. Some people have doubt even after they make a choice too, and I feel bad about that. My second husband was a Libra, and he had that decision making issue. I don't know if it was because he was a Libra, but I always teased him about that. He was they have that hard time with decisions.
That might be a karmic place, Lisa.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the idea that even after making a choice, there's a lot of
anxiety around. Did I do it right?
Yeah, second guessing. Yeah, perfectionism. More what ifing. What if, even though I made that choice, it's still not the right one?
That's a big one.
So projecting or trying to project into the future. There's a lot. There's still a lot of pitfalls, or there can be. But again, since there are choices, you can choose to say.
I will say too, if you really want to
move, the best I could. Yeah.
And exactly, when you move into light, and when you consciously, in your words or in your spiritual strategies that you use, Lisa, when you choose to move into the light in that earth, and you hear or feel what your answer is or your guidance is, I would say if it's light, it's right, and keep making it right. And what I mean by that is don't look back. And don't use the word but. For whatever reasons, you received your guidance or your answer in the way it was supposed to. And just keep walking forward. Because that is what will always create doubt, and which just keeps mounting to us.
Yes.
And we could easily beat ourselves up. But if we made a conscious decision to say, I'm going to ask through my light what is best. And I'm going to trust that. And I'm going to keep making that right. I'm going to keep reminding myself, no, I know it was. And keep asking. I say, you are allowed to ask everything. And I always get this look of,
you don't get a limited, you don't get a limited number of questions.
It's not
you
a
can
genie.
Ask 100,
it's not angels are not a genie. You just have
keep asking. Keep asking. Keep asking.
And ask for gratitude first is what I would say. If you don't have a sense of gratitude and you feel nothing at all, I would say, and universe, if you have guides, God, anything, just please give me a sense of gratitude and think of something you love, anything, and you'll feel it.
And some people prefer prayer to start too.
That's a great idea. Yes.
Whatever space you feel you need.
Get to that meditative mindset, prayer.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But however you create that that space, that container for what's going to come.
Mm-hmm.
Again, there's probably as many ways as there are people, right?
Infinite.
That's
Yeah.
how we do that for
There's no
ourselves.
right
It's
way.
infinite.
Right.
But for ourselves, once we find that way of creating that container or creating that space to receive, because that's really what we are putting ourselves in a position to receive, then, and again, you could do that one time, 10 times, a million times. It doesn't matter. Source is infinite. The collective is infinite. It's all there. You can't you can't run out of tries.
You
You can't run out
can't.
of chances.
Or
Right.
hands. I say the
Yeah.
lighted
Video
hands.
game.
Before you can finish that thought, they're there.
Yeah.
Because they want to help us, and I mention this
Yes.
quite often in my book too. Is they want to help us in any way they can. They're not
Yeah.
up there going, "Good luck with that." You
No,
may
Yeah.
not
It's
do
like,
it.
all
they're
right,
on our
smarty
side.
pants.
They're saying,
Yeah.
what can we do to help you in your journey? And if you just reach out, they are waiting for us.
They are.
But we just, as you mentioned, that word trust is very difficult for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
So I always say start small and just start opening to the nature and look at nature and breathe that in, the grounding of that piece, and just try to open to your own light, not with any rush, not with any rules, not with any have tos. It really will unfold if you just open to it.
Yeah, and as far as enjoying nature, for some people who don't like to go out, I love outdoors. I lived out in the desert, so I got out of the habit of hiking and stuff. I lived in St. Phoenix, and it was too hot. And after that, I just never got back into it. But if you're not an outdoors person, just open your window, or maybe go out in your front yard and
Right.
pick a leaf. I don't know, and feel it.
Yeah.
And look at
Go
the
barefoot.
view.
Take a drink of water.
Barefoot.
Yeah.
Just look at
Yeah.
your stuff around your
Heck,
house,
if you're,
rocks. Just
yeah.
oh, wow, look at all this stuff around you.
I mean, if you're in a really, really heavily urban environment, go buy yourself a little bunch of flowers.
I
Or
do that a
close your
lot.
eyes.
I do
Close
that a
your
lot.
eyes
I buy
and
myself
go.
flowers. Yeah.
Close your eyes and go where you want to go.
I love doing that. She
In your
does too.
mind.
I can
Yeah.
imagine. Yeah.
Yeah,
Who doesn't
it's a
like doing
real
that?
thing. People think that they're imagining it, and there is a part of imagining. Again, those are words that are very
I
difficult.
love
The human
talking
and the
about the
spiritual word.
imagination because I think the imagination is the key to how to work with the energy. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how it works all together because the imagination is just fascinating. If you would like to come back and talk more about imagination sometime,
Yeah,
I have
I'd
one
love to come
podcast
back.
called Imagination Investigation. I think I might have done that with someone. I'm not sure. I don't remember, but then we could do another one, talk about it
Yeah,
somewhere. I love
yeah.
talking about that. The imagination is one of my favorite subjects.
Yeah, a lot of people say that that's how you move there, and again, it's a vernacular. It's a word that doesn't transfer easily from human to spiritual, but there is an essence of explanation that way.
Absolutely, there
You
is.
know,
Yeah, and
so
we don't know what
I
our
lean into that.
imagination is. It's amazing what the heck goes on in your dreams and everything that happens in your.
Oh, dreams are just
Yeah.
a spiritual
Oh
experience.
yes,
Yeah.
there's even more less
Yeah.
less limitations in dreams, right?
Yeah, I did a whole series on my podcast with dreams in a
I'll have to listen to
spiritual sense.
that.
Yeah,
Now, listeners, you got to check that out too because they love that. I've noticed we get a lot of stats when we talk about dream stuff.
dreams
Yes.
they're just an extension.
Yeah.
And again, they're not happenstance. We create them for reasons.
Yeah.
That's very interesting because Donna was telling me about a very interesting dream before the
I know that's how we.
podcast.
That's
were
how I
just
know I
talking
came
about
in.
kind of coming
Yeah.
full circle. So
Yeah.
actually, where can we find your book? Where's the Spirit's Journey?
A Spirit's Journey is on Amazon and Ingram, or you can just go right to my website, www.cherylbradley.com, and you'll find that and my podcast. And I have an e-commerce shop if it's right, it's right. And again, it's my contract to spread that word, to let everyone know that spirit is boundless and that light is always available for us.
I love it. It's working. I feel it. Like you just talking, so enthusiastic, and you feel it, and I can feel it come. Right when listeners and watchers, right when she joined us, I was just blown away by the energy coming from you. I mean, it's just beautiful and it's gentle and it's gorgeous. I mean, it's like I'm putting like art words to it, but it felt like that, you know.
It's what I've come to do.
Spreading light.
Mm-hmm.
You are
just spreading light, and you spreading light, and we spreading light. We're all boots on the ground, and we need that. We need that light remembrance. And that is what birthed my book too, to remember home, remember the light, remember the goodness that we all have inside of us. And that's,
I hope people would look at that and remember that. I just want them to so bad because look at the good. Stop looking at your BS.
Right.
You can fix that. Just look at your good stuff, and that will fix the BS if you work on the like accepting the good stuff as you. You are good. You are good.
You are perfect and perfect as we all are.
Yeah, as we are in the moment.
Unique in your journey. Give yourself grace.
I like that a lot, man. And I would like to thank our sponsor, Everclear, at this point. Everclear is an advice app and website where you can get advice from psychics and empaths, so you can get the clarity you need to create the life you deserve. And I am Lisa Rusczyk as an advisor on Everclear.com and the app.
And I am Donna Murphy on Everclear and on the app. And so you can find me by name now, which is a relatively new development, which I'm very happy.
Real name. And also, Donna and I are doing live free tarot from every Sunday from 6 to 7 or longer if it goes that way, Central Time on Sundays starting on the 29th. And we have these little 5-minute timers. This is totally free, guys. We're not even asking for tips or donations or anything. Well, there's one to do this. To you, I said.
I love that purple.
And these are fine. Yours is green, and they're like $5.
I have a green one. Yeah, I have a green one.
Green is healing. I love it. Yeah. I love them both.
Yeah.
And so we did a podcast showing them like how much you can get out of 5 minutes and gave each other readings and stuff. And we're going to do a pick a card at the end, listeners and watchers. We really want you to join and ask questions. Or just get a general reading, find out what it's like, and maybe we can, be able to tell you what you've got going on if you have questions about that. Like what if you're confused about stuff, we want to help you there too. And Donna, can you think of anything to ask Cheryl for advice to give the listeners and watchers? I'm trying to think. You've given such advice.
I would just say if someone is interested in, especially if they're just starting their journey, or if I think the way you described it, and I love the way you described it, is that you went through a period where you were earth centered.
Earth amnesia or quieting, following the earth's hum.
If that's an awakening that they're having, or they're just starting that part of their journey, what I know we've talked about a lot of things here. What would, aside from getting your book, which I think would be an excellent idea, what other processes can they do as a start?
On my website too, I have a tab called Spiritual Toolkit, and I think in this is going to hit home with you ladies because this is your podcast. But identifying your psychic abilities, naming your clairs, being aware of how messages come to you.
That's great.
And you'd be so surprised how, I didn't realize that is a message. Because spirit is so, as you know, ladies, it's so, the veil is so thin. And if you don't open to notice it, it will go right by you. But once you start opening to your clairs and opening to how spirit communicates with you.
Already. That's what we've talked about a lot too, is how it's already happening to you.
Already happening. And by naming it, like you ladies are working so hard on that, and I love that, is making that conscious. Oh my goodness. Like I did hear that. And I always define it by there's no natural source. That is a big definition between, your psychic abilities and your natural world. And the natural world is the 3-dimensional world we live in. That's a big check mark. Wow. Yeah. I heard something and no one's even here. Or that is a great key. And so really understanding and opening to your psychic abilities. And again, you can find those helpful hints on my spiritual
little piece. I don't know why I want to ask you this piece of advice. I just
Please
feel
do.
like you have a good answer for this. How do you, how would you tell new people like that, new listeners or new people new in the field are just starting, maybe they get your website and they're looking at that and they're like, ooh, I'm a telepath. Whoa. Like where do you take the fear away from not knowing exactly yet what this
Well,
stuff
you name the word. Right, the word fear automatically moves you away from the spirit. Right.
But if they don't know what that word is, they just have this like weird feeling, and they don't even know it's fear.
That's generally like what you're explaining. I feel, Lisa, is a clairsentience. Is like you feel this thing in your body, like this vibration. And that's an earmark for being clairsentient, and that is how spirit communicates. So maybe those are affirmatives for you. Or maybe that's like a little knock on the door for you to say, whoa, that was really interesting. So that's what it felt like when you said that. Is
okay, cool.
But it's as soon as you open and ask for it, the spirit world will jump right in. We just have to open our hearts for it.
You may not do it how you expect at all. Probably not.
That's when the human thinking is, right? Like,
right. That's where the
say
human part comes in.
End.
For your highest and greatest good.
Right. It just arrives. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Yes.
It just arrives. And ask. I always say, validate everything. I call myself a serial validator. Is that right? Did you say that?
I love that.
And I follow it up with, does that feel light? Does that answer feel light? And if it does, then I'm on the right trail. And if it doesn't, maybe I didn't ask it. And sometimes we're asking it 2 and 3 questions at a time because our thoughts fire off so fast. Or I still have ego. I'm not clear enough.
I don't. Just kidding. Mm-hmm. Everybody's got ego. I just wanted to say it, see what happened. But
again, it's fine tuning your spiritual communication.
It is.
It's just practice.
Yeah. It is practice and believing in faith and more validation, like you said, the more validation you can get from if you're doing divination or anything or experiences you're having, you're not crazy or this is not unusual. So as you think, but
nor do you have to persuade anyone either.
You don't.
That's
right.
The piece,
right. What
There's
other people, what other people do with the information or how that lands, how what you are or who you are lands with them is them, not you.
Right.
But if you trust yourself and you learn more and more to trust yourself because you begin to trust that connection, which you will be able to do because you will see over and over, actual proof, right? You'll see that it will validate. The experience will begin to, you'll begin to have regular experiences that validate the whole process. And at that point, then what other people think is, again, that's up to them.
Right. And that's the human side, the ego, the judgment, right? And we're not listening to that.
And something you can't control.
Right. But it exists, though, so we have to manage it as well, right? Or identify
feel the energy of it. Yeah, it's hard to feel criticism and anger and stuff like that at you.
Yeah.
And especially if you don't know what it is or where it's coming from or that it's an energy.
Right.
You just know you
even
feel
disappointment, right? Disappointment. That's a hard one, but that's ego.
That's their expectations, though.
And expectation is another ego word, too. But if it's light, it's right.
Yeah.
And that's a great validation tool to take with you anywhere. Even I always say I'll go to the store and pick out deodorant. And I use my mantra is if it's light, what's my lightest best good? And even deodorant. And you might people say,
but I know what you mean. You go with the one you're drawn to because you're asking for the best one. Angel, which one's going to stand out and make my sweat really dry up?
Right. And they'll answer everything, even deodorant.
And even deodorant. Yeah, anything. Anything
in light and love, they will always answer for you.
They will.
You just have to be open to receive it.
And thank you so much, Cheryl. This has been
it was my pleasure. It was my pleasure. You ladies are just keep doing this great work that you're doing and spreading the light of love out there.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. It was such a pleasure.
My pleasure as well.
And I have one last question. Though.
Yeah, we can't forget.
Do you love our listeners and our watchers?
I love them. I love them. Oh, I'll do that too.
I do too.
I think it's just wonderful when we all can collectively get together and just hold our hearts and space in the same place.
Me too.
It's short time, but it's meaningful.
Oh, these are recorded too, so you can go back and relive them.
And you can watch them anytime. You can watch it 100 times if you like.
Anytime. Beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much, guys. I love y'all.
Thank you. Thank you both very much. Pleasure. It's been a pleasure as always. And Cheryl, I look forward to speaking with you and hopefully having you back on the show again sometime soon.
To.
Imagination.
And congratulations on the book. I'm definitely going to grab it and read it.
Beautiful.
Out of it.
Beautiful. Have a great day.
Thank you so much. Everybody have a great time wherever you pointy may be. Virginia, I don't know where you are, but have fun there. And everybody have a nice time. Peace out. Bye.
Bye.